Have you ever dreamed of visiting another planet? Barren wastelands, deserted deserts, and rugged mountains. What if I told you that planet is not that far away? What if I told you that planet is this planet? And what if I told you that destination is Iceland? Hi and welcome to the channel. My name's Greg. I'm the host of Passports to Places. So what we're doing here is we're doing a details video. This is our first episode where we detail exactly how we put our trips together. So this one is going to involve our trip to Iceland. And we did this back in February. We'll give you all the details of where we stayed, how we got there, why we went there, what we did, and finally, an overall picture of what we thought of Iceland. And what you can do, which we find is great and helpful, is you can go to our website, which is passports2places.com. You can click on the itineraries tab. You'll find our itineraries. We're loading them as we're going along or as we're finishing videos. But you can click on the itineraries tab. You can find this exact itinerary under the Iceland tab. And then you can go day by day and actually see how and where and what we visited each time. Now, the thing with that, which is really cool, is you can actually click on it. If there's a reservation you need, you can actually reserve it while we're doing this video. So you can click on that. You can kind of read more about it while we're showing you pictures or explaining things. But you can actually click on the actual site or attraction that we visit, and it'll take you right to the place that either book tickets or make reservations. So I think that's great. Hopefully you find that helpful as well. You can also follow along from site to site that we go down along the list. And you can skip ahead if you know there's something that you don't want to see. I think that's pretty helpful. Okay, so first things first. Why did we visit Iceland? What made us choose Iceland? A couple of things really stood out is that, one, we wanted a cold destination. We live in Florida. We've lived in hot places our entire life, California and now Florida. And so I wanted to go to something that was cold, that was easy to get to. Now, my first inclination was going to Canada, and I thought about going to Banff. So I thought, well, we could fly up to Banff, but from where we are in South Florida, we have to stop in Toronto, then we have to go to Calgary, and then Calgary you have to rent a car, and you have to... So by the time we would get to Banff, it was, a good 8, 9, 10-hour drive, or 10-hour day, I should say. So I started to look and say, what's on my bucket list? And Iceland was one of those things that was on my bucket list for a lot of reasons. But the big one is I've never seen the Northern Lights. I've always been in Southern Hemispheres. So that was a big thing. I wanted to chase the Northern Lights, and it's one of my bucket list trips. So looking at it, it's such a quick and easy flight. From here, we flew to Boston. We actually stayed a night in Boston, so we didn't have to do the whole trip all at once, but we definitely could have. Looking back, I probably would have just did the whole thing, but we felt, let's go spend a night in Boston, have dinner, relax, and then we'd go the next day. So the flight from Boston to Iceland is only about 5 hours. So it's a lot closer than people think. So Iceland was a great choice for us. Now, what did we pack? This was a tough one. We watched many YouTube videos, and most of the time you would not see when they were going or what the weather was like or something like that. They were just like, hey, this is what I'm packing, this is what I'm packing. It's like, well, when are you packing for? Are you going in the summer? Are you going in the winter? Are you going in the spring? So there wasn't a whole lot of videos that explained the month that we were going. We found one or two. It kind of gave us a little bit of an idea. The biggest situation is the weather in Iceland is so unpredictable, and the weather forecast is so unpredictable. Every day you can look at the forecast and it has rain every single day. The rain could only last for 5 minutes and it goes away, and it's a beautiful day. But the forecast shows you rain. So it was a little tough to predict there. Now, The temperatures, great. Temperatures were in the 40s in February as a jet stream that comes through, brings the warm air. Great temperatures. You could pretty much go without a jacket. But, here's the big but. The wind was unbelievable. We encountered wind every single day, everywhere we went. And the wind is what gets you. So you can have 40-degree temperatures, but the wind makes it feel like minus 20. While we live in Florida, we don't really have winters here. We don't have winter clothes. So what I was able to do, because I was on travel and I was in Canada at the time, I went to a place called Decathlon, very inexpensive store for winter clothes. They don't have customer service. They have employees and things like that. You check yourself out at the counter. You grab your own things. They have some fitting rooms. They have some people to help you, but it's not a full service, sporting goods store. So they can keep their prices down. They also make a lot of their own stuff. Bought some boots, bought jackets, ski pants, waterproof this, waterproof that, gloves. Just grabbed everything I possibly could. And then the good thing is that if you become a Decathlon member, you can return your items that are unused for up to a year. The other thing that we bought was stuff off Amazon. Obviously that's a given these days for most people. We also have a North Face outlet and a Columbia outlet here in South Florida. So we were able to get a few things there as well. What I packed was 3 pairs of thermals, 2 pairs of waterproof pants, 5 shirts. Also bought some merino wool socks, 2 beanies, and some other random stuff. And then I also brought my drone. I brought my 360 camera, and I also brought my computer and my iPhone. Now, Kim kind of packed the same things, just a little bit more on the furry side, fluffy side, bright side. She wanted to take pictures and wearing the black and the white and the snow and the lava doesn't really come out. So it was orange, or it was blue, or it was pink, or it was red. So she loved to have that so that she had the contrast of the photos. So now what I want to do is I want to point out how we set out to accomplish exactly what we wanted to do on this trip. So we booked the trip in mid-December. So we didn't have a whole lot of time to plan, get our stuff that we needed, obviously. YouTube was a big helpful, plan for us. So like I said, I love watching everybody else's YouTube channels. Congratulations, they're great. I put all the places that we wanted to go to in a spreadsheet on Excel. So I would break it down as to what site we're going to, how much time we need there, how much time it takes to get there, what the cost is, and kind of grouped them into which ones we were going to do day by day. But once we had that all set up, it was great. It flowed really easy. The spreadsheet, I would recommend putting a spreadsheet together. And like I said, just have a category of what time you want to leave, what time you want to get there, how much time you want to spend, how much it costs. And then you'll have a plan of, hey, we're here, we've got 2 hours, let's do this. And if you finish quicker, you get to stay longer somewhere else. We saw about 95% of the things that we wanted to see. There was reasons that we didn't see some things because of rain or weather. Some things we just wanted to skip, and some things we just wanted to stay longer somewhere. Now, how we got to Iceland? Well, we took a flight, as I said, from Florida to Boston, and then Boston to Iceland, Reykjavik. We flew on Iceland Air. We arrived about 6:30 in the morning, a little bit before. Customs, got through really fast, got our luggage really fast, and we went through our rental car. Our rental car was Blue Car Rental. Now, we had other cars booked, another car booked with another company, but then when I found out and did more research, Blue Car was by far a better choice. The insurance that they offered on the car already included. Another insurance already included. So there was so much that was included that you don't really think about. So be careful when you go to Iceland as far as the rental cars are concerned, because you do need the wind insurance. You do need the damage insurance. You do need, the coverage and collision and roadside assistance. The doors are the biggest thing. You can open that door and it can just rip right off. So make sure you have the right coverage. And I always say, don't take the insurance. Don't take the insurance. Don't take the insurance. Your car is going to be covered by your credit card. Your car is going to be covered by your auto insurance. Iceland is the only other exception I've ever found where you actually really want the insurance. Okay, so the last thing I'll speak about the car rentals are, please download the Parka app. That's P-A-R-K-A, Parka. Now this is the app that you'll use throughout Iceland for any parking fees at any of the major attractions or stops. You click into it, it tells you where you're at. You can look by sight, you can say Reynisfjara beach, and then boom, it tells you, are you in parking lot 1 or parking lot 2? You say 2, pay for it, boom, you're done. So now the next thing I like to talk about is something that I do that I do almost completely different than every other travel person I've seen. And that's, I do not stay my first night in the destination that I land in. I look at it as, I have to return the car and I have to fly home out of that same airport. So why don't I visit it on the end of my trip, because I have to be back there anyway. Now, if you visited the first day, okay, I visited Reykjavik the first day, and then on the next day, I'm gonna start out my trip. Well, when you come back, you gotta be back in Reykjavik. You don't wanna drive from Hella or Jökulsárlón and drive all the way, risking missing your flight because weather was bad or something else. So the night you're gonna fly out, you're gonna wanna stay in Reykjavik. So why stay in Reykjavik 2 different times? So essentially what we did is we landed in Keflavik, which is outside of Reykjavik, about an hour outside. So you're a pretty good distance. And we went straight from the airport, got the rental car, and right to the Blue Lagoon. It opened at 8 o'clock. So we got there at about 7:30. There was probably 2 cars there. By the time it opened, we walked right in. Nobody there. We were first in line, got in, got our drinks, got into the water, and we spent about 2 hours there. Now, when we got out of the Blue Lagoon, which was about 10 o'clock, a little after 10 o'clock, packed, jam-packed lines out the door. So that's what I recommend to do. Get off the plane, go straight to the Blue Lagoon. Even if it's not open yet, just wait in the parking lot. The sun came up, boom, we were in the Blue Lagoon within minutes. Now, from there, we went to Costco. If you have a Costco membership, go to Costco. We stocked up on our sodas, breads, anything that was, would hold for the whole week. Do not buy water. I know Icelanders, if you watch any video, they will tell you, do not buy water. Water is drinkable in Iceland. That's what you're in. You're in ice. So everything is drinkable. All the water is drinkable from pretty much any fountain that you go to, even in the bathrooms at the gas station. From Costco, we went to Kerid Crater. Kerid Crater is located up on the Golden Circle. Now, our first night we were staying in Hella. We figured we wanted to get to Hella so we would see what we could see on the way to Hella. Kerid Crater was pretty much as close to Hella off the main road as any attraction that you can go to or any site. Kerid Crater, we probably spent maybe 45 minutes there, maybe an hour. Not really a whole lot to see. It's a volcanic crater with a lake in the bottom of it. But obviously, Kerid Crater is something that everybody talks about. Instagram site, blah, 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 blah. From there, we decided we were just going to go right to the Airbnbs. So our friends had an Airbnb across the street from where we were. And right before we got there, we saw a beautiful waterfall. It's called Urridafoss. Very easily acceptable. We actually passed it, turned around, went right back over to it, parked in the parking lot, free to park, free to look at it, free to walk. Very beautiful waterfall. Very small, but very powerful. So the next day we woke up. We were, as I said, in Hella. We picked up our friends and we set it off on our Golden Circle tour. So from there we started in Gullfoss. We began probably about 7:30 in the morning. Got to Gullfoss, only car in the parking lot. That's the great thing if you have your rental car. You beat all the tourist buses and things like that. And you kind of do the opposite way that the buses will go. That way you'll kind of cross the buses instead of following the buses or behind the buses and having all the people. If you do it the opposite way, then you're visiting the sites when the buses have gone or they haven't even gotten there yet. So Gullfoss was the first of the Golden Circle, the tour that we took. Our next stop was Geyser, however you want to call it. One of those things that shoots water up in the air. I've never been to one until then, so I've never been to the national parks here in the United States to see Old Faithful or any of that stuff. So it was nice to see. It wasn't all and powerful. amazing, not really, underwhelming for me, but it was good to see, and obviously you need to see it. And the smell was amazing. I'm kidding, the smell is horrible. Rotten eggs. So now we headed off to Thingviller National Park. Now this is kind of where we got a little bit sidetracked. So we lost that 5% of the 100% that we were going to see. We ran into some Icelandic horses on the side of the road. So we had to stop, see the horses, first time seeing them, amazing, beautiful animals, funny, fun, and it took probably an hour, hour and a half out of our day. So all the time that we took spending with the horses kind of cut into our time for the rest of the day because we had reservations at the tomato farm. So essentially we just drove through Thingviller National Park, kind of stopped, took a drone out, took some beautiful shots of the mountains and the lake and things like that. But we really didn't get to spend our immersive day in the national park because we did have to get to the restaurant for our reservation. Now the tomato farm, wonderful. I recommend it, but you have to get advanced reservations. You're probably looking about a month to 2 months, depending on the type of season that you're going to go to. They do offer some walk-up service, but just for soup and for drinks. Everything else, if you want to sit down and have the soup and bread and everything else, you're going to have to make reservations. So after that, we headed back to our Airbnb. It was about 7 o'clock, so it was getting dark, and we still had a good hour and a half to get back. Okay, so on day 3, we woke up. We had to pack up our bags because we were moving on to a next base. Our next base was the Magma Hotel. And the Magma Hotel is located in this place. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. But that's where we were staying for our next leg of the trip. We were staying 2 nights there. Along the way, we stopped at our first site, which was Seljalandsfoss. Now this waterfall is famous for all the right reasons. And it just so happened that a week before we got there, they had 3 feet of snow. By the time we got there, it was beautiful and sunny. All the snow had melted, some of the ice had melted, and they actually opened the back of the waterfall the day before we got there. So we got a, amazing time that we got to spend there, see the waterfall from up front as well as walking behind it. Now, if you are going to walk behind it, you are going to get wet. 100%, no doubt about it. You're going to get soaked. So if you're going to do it, make sure you got your waterproof clothes or a poncho or towels in the car, change of clothes, because you are going to get wet. From Seljalandsfoss, I'm never going to pronounce these names right, so please don't come at me in the comments. From there is an easy walk to the secret waterfall. And once again, I'm not going to pronounce it. The name is right here. I would definitely suggest you walk down to that, but only if you're going to go inside. And going inside requires you to either kind of walk on rocks or get in the water and go through. And once you get inside, you're going to get soaked again. Only go down to that waterfall if you're going to go inside. If you're not going to go inside, there's not a whole lot you can see. I wouldn't suggest wasting the 15-minute walk there, 15-minute walk back. Spend your day somewhere else. But if you're going to go inside, it's definitely worth it. You can stand on the rock, the waterfall, looking down, the sun coming through. Amazing. But you got to be willing to get wet. So from the secret waterfall in Seljalandsfoss, we took a drive down the same road. We knew we probably weren't going to see the Solheim DC plane wreck. So we went to the Eyvindarholt DC-3. It's only a 10-minute drive from the waterfall on the same road. Less known, but just as cool. I mean, it's a wreckage in the middle of a field, and you can climb on it, you can take your pictures, you can do your drones, whatever you want. Now from there, we went to Dyrholaey Peninsula. Once again, if I pronounced the name wrong, sorry. So this is a beautiful spot overlooking Reynisfjara beach and then up to the north. The one thing I would say is the winds were incredibly strong. This is one of the places that you have to hold your door when you get out and when you get in, or else that door will just swing open and rip right off. But the views were unbeatable. They were beautiful. Now, this isn't open all year round. It's always depending on the road conditions because it is a steep drive up and a steep drive down. So they may close the road off and you can't get up to the top. Now from here, we actually went to Reynisfjara beach. Well, when we got to Reynisfjara beach, oh my God, it was raining so hard. So we never even got out of the car. We drove to the parking lot and we sat in the car for 20 minutes waiting for it to stop, and it just didn't. So we got back out, we drove, and we went into the town of Vik. And wouldn't you know it, on this other side of the mountain, which is where Vik is, clear skies. Beautiful day. So you just never know. You never know. That's why you have to plan accordingly. If it's going to rain, you spend more time at another destination. If it's beautiful, you spend longer there because you never know what you're going to get. So we actually found Fjaðrárgljúfur beach, which is on the other side of the sea salt stacks. So we got a great angle there. The beach was beautiful. It was black sand. It was foamy water. So it made for some great shots of the sea stacks. And then we grabbed some food at Black Crust Pizza. Best pizza. Oh my God, it was so good. And it was so cool that it was all black. But I would highly recommend Black Crust Pizza in Vik. So from there we went to Skogafoss. Skogafoss, tall, huge, powerful waterfall. Great to see. If you take a picture from far back, you can see how small you are and how big and powerful the waterfall is. So I suggest taking one from a far vantage point as well as the close vantage point. Now we ended up walking up to the top of Skogafoss. There are the stairs there. I can't remember exactly how many they are. But anyway, we walked up there and it was take your breath away. You know, we had to stop probably 3 or 4 times catching our breath on the way up. But it was a beautiful view from up there. You can see down the waterfall and you can see out to the water and things like that. So if it's a beautiful day, highly recommend it. You can go further up the river or you can just go right to the top and look down the waterfall, which is pretty awesome. So our day ended at the Magma Hotel, which I mentioned earlier. Now, the nights that we stayed in Hella, no northern lights. It was a bummer, but Magma was a different story. Magma, the first night, was a magical moment. Seeing the northern lights for the first time, mesmerizing, awesome, unbelievable. It was a special moment. We did get a good light show on the first night. We also got a light show the second night. You make sure you want to download the app, the Aurora app. It'll tell you where the lights are currently, how close they are to you. When they're getting close to you, it'll say if you're in an area with clear skies, you should start seeing the northern lights in 10 minutes. So the app will tell you when it's in your range or not. And if you have clear skies, boom, beautiful. You could sit there for hours and just watch them. So we were lucky enough to see it 2 nights in a row in the Magma Hotel. So the next day we got up and we went to what we call Beaver Canyon because we can't pronounce. So Beaver Canyon's amazing. And it's even more amazing if you have a drone because you can actually get through it. You can actually see what you can't see from up top or down below. Beautiful cutouts of the ground where the ice has come through and the river comes through and there's waterfalls in there. Beautiful. Highly recommend it. Justin Bieber made it famous in one of his videos, so that's why we call it the Beaver Canyon. They've closed off some of the areas that he walked in because too many people were going there. It got dangerous, but highly recommend Fjaðrárgljúfur Canyon, however it's pronounced, but that's the canyon. From there, we made it out to what we call Gigjagja Cave. Again, here's the name. I'm going to pronounce it right. We call it the Yoda Cave. Not just us, but everybody calls it the Yoda Cave. So the Yoda Cave is named after the style of the cave, the look of the cave. It looks exactly like Yoda from Star Wars. So that was kind of fun. We knew we were going to go there. We brought some lightsabers from Amazon back in the United States and brought them and kind of did a little lightsaber kind of style shot, which was really cool. So we spent a little time there, flew the drone around, obviously. Just outside of Yoda Cave is a black barren desert. Looks like nothing around except 2 little chairs. It was perfect. We found 2 little chairs sitting out in the black sand and made for some great photo shots. So that was a little extra bonus that we didn't anticipate and we got to do. So we did that, and then from there we went back into Vik. We did the Vik Mudrell Church. Visited that for a few minutes, took some pictures outside, took pictures of the sea stacks from there, and then we went back to Reynisfjara. This time Reynisfjara was sunny, or mostly sunny, but the winds, oh my gosh, the winds were amazing. And let me stress this, I don't know how many times, please be aware of the sneaker waves. I know you hear it, oh, sneaker waves, big deal, whatever. I know I'm staying distance back, whatever. No. You can never be too cautious. Just this week, a 9-year-old girl got swept away with her family. The family, the father and the brother made it back. The 9-year-old girl was tragically killed. So these waves can sneak up on you in seconds. You turn your back on these waves for 1 second, and they'll be on you. I mean, they can cover a good area in a matter of half a second, and you can't outrun them. So please be aware. Always keep an eye on the beach. always keep an eye on the water. Always. So Reynisfjara beach is beautiful. Like I said, the winds were so strong. We didn't fly the drone, so we were able to get a few shots. But we had gotten shots from the peninsula, which was nice. But it's, you know, definitely something you have to see if the weather is good. So day 5 started out that we had to pack up because we were heading to our next base. Our next base was going to be in Jökulsárlón. So on the way to Jökulsárlón, we stopped and saw the views of Skaftafellsjökull, which is the glacier that you'll see along the ring road. Now we took some pictures, flew the drone, beautiful sight, but we kept going. We had an appointment in Jökulsárlón with the Blue Ice Cave. So we got to Jökulsárlón Glacier Lagoon. That's the base for pretty much all things glacier. You'll have your glacier tours, your ice caves, your glacier hikes. Everything up in there is all going to be based out of Jökulsárlón Glacier Lagoon. We spent a little time in the lagoon itself, taking some pictures and drone shots. Now, drones are allowed and they're not allowed, so make sure you know when they are allowed and when they're not allowed. It's usually not allowed in certain summer seasons and or when the park is open. So just make sure you're aware of that. Some people were like, you're not allowed to fly drones. And it's like, yeah, you are. This season you're allowed because it's winter season. Summer season, you're not allowed to fly a drone unless the park is closed. So make sure if you have one, to always obey the rules and just be polite with people and let them know that you kind of know what the rules are and you're, you know, a careful flyer. So from there we picked up our Jeep and we headed to the Blue Ice Cave. Now the Blue Ice Cave was about an hour drive through the deserts and the rocks. It was a fun ride on the Super Jeep. I you know, can say I had a good time. Then when you get there, you have to do a hike. So you're going to hike through the glacier to get up to the ice cave. Now inside the ice cave, beautiful, beautiful blue ice. Highly recommend the tour. The tour came through Arctic Adventures. Great guide, very colorful, very full of stories, very fun. He made the trip very, very memorable. But the blue ice was amazing. From the Blue Ice Cave, he took us to another ice cave, a very small one. I forget what it was called, but it was next door. Just a quick little visit in there. Then we headed back to Jökulsárlón, dropped us off, and we walked over to Diamond Beach. Now, Diamond Beach is walkable, probably about a 10-minute walk from Jökulsárlón. The glaciers go from Jökulsárlón out to Diamond Beach. Diamond Beach was pretty packed in the area where the glaciers come through. And there wasn't a whole lot of broken glaciers. There were a few, but not as many as I'd hoped. Now, if you walk down the beach, probably about 10 or 15 minutes, barely anybody there. So you can have the beach to yourself. If you just want to do a little bit of walk, go down to the end of the beach. Maybe not as much ice on the beach, but you'll have it to yourself. So a little bit more area to, you know, take your photos with nobody in them. So now one thing I will say is this lagoon is an amazing glacier lagoon, 10 times better than Jökulsárlón. So I would suggest if you have a chance, even for 15 minutes, take you about 15 minutes to walk up to the lagoon and 15 minutes back. But you're going to want to spend at least a half hour there. There's big, large glaciers you can actually walk on that have broken away. I should say glaciers, I should say icebergs. So they are right up on shore. So you can actually climb on them. You can take pictures next to them, on them, around them. So that's a better view, closer, more interactive than actually doing the Jökulsárlón. So I would highly suggest it if you find it and you see it on your way and you have time. Now, day 6, we checked out of the hotel. It was one night at the Jökulsárlón Glacier Hotel, and we decided the weather was beautiful. We were going to go up to Vestrahorn. Vestrahorn was our longest drive, but it was well worth it. Oh, what an amazing landscape. Almost looks like a painting. The winds were howling as usual. The one thing I can stress over and over is the winds are always going in Iceland. But it made for beautiful shots with the black sand, with the brown grass, the snow on the mountains. Oh, it was amazing. Highly recommend if you have the time, get all the way up to Vestrahorn. Also, there is at the bottom of Vestrahorn in the same park a Viking village. Now this is a Viking village that was built as a movie set and a TV set. It was never used for the original reason why it was built. I believe that movie shut down or they didn't shoot there, but the Viking village remained, and it has since been used in a few TV shows and movies. But it's free to walk in, walk around, take pictures, do whatever you want. Kind of a cool little side trip if you're there. Give you some extra time to do some stuff in Vestrahorn. Now on our way back from Vestrahorn, our Airbnb was back in. And the next day we woke up, which is our day going back to Reykjavik. Day 7 we woke up, and this was the day we were heading back to Reykjavik. But we had reservations at the Big Horse Adventure. We were going to ride horses on the beach, Black Sand Beach. The weather was the worst snow weather that we had. And so the horse adventure got canceled. We did get to stop in. We visited with the horses. They introduced us. They told us about them, the history, everything else. It was a wonderful stay, even though we didn't get to ride the horses. So we just got back in the car and we headed back towards Reykjavik. So on the way to Reykjavik, the weather cleared up as soon as we passed Reynisfjara beach. So I don't know what it is about Reynisfjara beach. It just has bad weather. The north side, the south side, clear as day, beautiful sunshine. But right there, Reynisfjara beach, full times that we were there, was just horrible. So on our way back to Reykjavik, we did find a place called Hestheimar Horse Farm. This is just outside of Hella, and we stopped in just by chance to ask them if they had a horse ride, because by this time the weather was beautiful. And they said come back in 30 minutes, they would accommodate us. So we did just that. They accommodated us. We had a great ride. On our way back to the farm, my horse got a little spooked by something on the ground and over I went. But everything was all good. We were fun, it was fine, it was a great ride. Icelandic horses are beautiful. So I highly recommend and thank them, Hestheimar Farm Horses, for their ride and their hospitality and getting us a ride, since we did miss out in Vik. Now we arrived in Reykjavik mid-afternoon, early evening. We're staying at the Hilton Canopy Hotel right in downtown Reykjavik. Now we could walk right out our hotel. We went to the church. I'm not going to pronounce it as always. It's this one right here. I'm sure you know it. Beautiful church. We didn't go inside the first day. Took our pictures from there, and we went and had our dinner. So the next day we got up and we had an appointment at a place called Mink Studios. Now Mink Studios is a place that will replicate you as a Viking. Photo shoot went great. We had a great time. We got great pictures, but you have to have reservations. If this is something that you want to do, which is really cool, just as something you'll never do anywhere else, really, I highly suggest it. And you must make reservations. There was some people in there, even though he didn't have another appointment, he just doesn't do them without appointments. So make sure you do an appointment at least 1 to 3 days ahead of time. Now after the Mink Studios, we went down to the Sun Voyager, went back to the church to take pictures inside. We had some coffee, spent some time downtown getting our souvenirs, and then we were getting ready to go to the airport. That was the nice reason why we stayed in Reykjavik the last day, is that we could sleep, we knew how much time we had to get to the airport, we could do our souvenir shopping, everything else. So we didn't waste time in the front end at Reykjavik, and then in the back end. We just did it on the back end so we can get everything done at once. Didn't have to pack our car with souvenirs or anything else. We just did it at the end, put them in our suitcases, and we were off. So we headed to the airport, but we had to make a stop. On the way to the airport, we went to the bridge between two continents. Now this is the continental divide that has the plates, the two tectonic plates that are coming together, and there's a bridge that you can walk between them. You can actually walk down in between the two continents. So that was our chance to actually see the tectonic plates, since we didn't get to see them in Thingviller National Park. So then we went off to the airport and we were headed home. Great trip in Iceland. Would I do Iceland again? Absolutely. 100% I would do Iceland again. I'd love to go to the northern side and see the highlands and the mountains. Obviously, that's not possible during the winter because of the snow and ice, but I would definitely go to Iceland again. Now, where does it rank? For me personally, top 5 all-time destinations. There was just something about it that was beautiful. I mean, from the color of the landscape to the type of landscape, from the grass to the rock to the lava to the sand to the beach to the snow. It was just something that I've never experienced all in one trip before. So the feelings that I had afterwards were just, this is a magical place. and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Now, there is one caveat. Right now, it's going through, well, it has been going through for the last few years, a boom in tourism. So you won't get to see what we saw, empty spaces, empty waterfalls, things like that, if you're going in the summer. So just be aware. I hear the summer can be brutal as far as crowds are concerned. So if you have a chance to go in a shoulder season. Go in March, go in February, or go towards September and October. Now, if you're going to see the Northern Lights, or you want to see the Northern Lights, you have to go in winter. You cannot do the summer. But if you want to do a cruise, you could do a cruise. I would love to do a cruise. Many of them incorporate Greenland and Iceland together. Some are just Iceland. Some are more towards Norway and Scotland and Ireland and Iceland. But there are several cruise lines that will go through there. They'll even go to the northern side. Try to avoid the crowds. It's getting so overcrowded and just not comfortable, and people are having miserable times going places. But I do recommend you at least once in your lifetime go to Iceland. All right, that does it for our details episode. Thanks for watching. If you haven't watched the highlights episode, please watch it. It's beautiful. There's no talking, there's no, voiceovers. It's just the sights and the sounds. I appreciate it, and we'll see you at the next episode.